The neighborhood was asleep. A cool breeze rustled the trees, and the streetlights cast long shadows on the empty streets. It was a quiet night, ordinary in every way, until the shimmering lights appeared. Barely perceptible, they danced across the sky like fireflies. To the untrained eye, they could have been an atmospheric phenomenon, maybe a reflection of some far-off city's glow. But for the Vardak, cloaking technology had rendered their ships nearly invisible as they hovered silently over the suburb. Inside one of the homes, 7-year-old Emily was sound asleep, her favorite stuffed bear tucked under her arm. Her father, Jack, an engineer by trade and a tinkerer by passion, had spent the evening in his garage repairing an old radio before heading to bed. The faint hum of the Vardak ship's grav engines didn't disturb the stillness, at least not at first. But when a thin beam of pale blue light swept through Emily's window, her bear dropped to the floor as the child vanished, as if plucked from existence. The Vardak moved with precision. Their biomechanical drones, insectoid in shape, glided silently into homes. Each one carried a delicate apparatus to scan for human children. They selected their targets based on specific physiological markers, genes the Vardak believed could unlock a key to survival on harsher worlds. Within minutes, several homes had been breached and their young occupants removed. The alien craft ascended silently, their mission executed without error, or so they thought. High above Earth, within the confines of the Vardak mothership, scientists examined their new specimens. Human children lay suspended in stasis pods, each surrounded by a dim glow that kept them immobilized but unharmed. The Vardak, tall, willowy beings with obsidian-like skin and large, multifaceted eyes, observed their captives with a mix of curiosity and clinical detachment. These creatures, one murmured, gesturing at a readout of Emily's neural activity, are remarkably adaptable. Their neuroplasticity rivals that of any species we've studied. Another Vardak scientist leaned closer to a different pod. And this is fascinating. Their emotional energy, the primitive bonds they form, seems to enhance their resilience. We must explore this further. Arrogance permeated their ranks. Humanity, they believed, was far too underdeveloped to pose any threat. As their ship glided deeper into space, the Vardak basked in their success, utterly unaware of the mistake that would mark their downfall. Back on Earth, Jack woke with a start. Something felt wrong. Checking Emily's room, his heart sank. The bed was empty, and the window was ajar, though there was no sign of forced entry. Frantically, he searched the house, calling her name, but the silence was deafening. In his panic, he stumbled into the backyard, where he noticed a strange circular burn mark on the grass, something he'd never seen before. Grabbing his phone, Jack scoured local news reports and online forums. His gut told him this wasn't an isolated incident. By sunrise, reports of missing children were surfacing in nearby neighborhoods. Desperate, he contacted the police, but they dismissed his claims as paranoia. One officer went so far as to suggest Emily had run away. But Jack knew better. He couldn't explain the burn mark or the odd, distorted lights he'd spotted in the sky during the night. His military engineering background screamed at him to investigate further. Determined, Jack began reaching out to other parents whose children had disappeared under similar circumstances. That's when he met Claire, a former intelligence officer, and Marcus, a retired aerospace engineer. As they shared their stories, patterns emerged. All the children had been taken in the dead of night. All had parents with keen instincts who refused to accept the official narrative. "We're on our own," Claire said grimly, spreading out a map of the neighborhood. "No one's coming to help us." "Then we do this ourselves," Jack replied, his voice steely. "They made a mistake taking our kids. They'll regret it." The morning after the children's disappearance, Jack's garage became the makeshift headquarters for a desperate operation. Claire, Marcus, and a handful of other determined parents huddled around a cluttered workbench littered with schematics, computer monitors, and hastily scribbled notes. Each brought their unique expertise to the table, united by a single goal: bring their children home. "We need to think bigger," Claire said, her voice steady but urgent. She had spent the night scouring her old intelligence contacts, digging into classified reports about extraterrestrial activity. The government's been hiding this for decades. This isn't the first alien encounter, and it won't be the last. I've got locations, storage sites where they've been quietly hoarding alien tech. Marcus, leaning over a blueprint, nodded. "I know one of those sites. I worked on a project there before I retired. It was experimental, an early attempt to reverse engineer alien propulsion systems. The program was scrapped, but the ship might still be there. It's not much, but it could give us a chance to get off this rock." Jack looked up from the drone footage he'd been analyzing. "If we can find that ship and retrofit it, we've got a shot. But we'll need power sources, weapons, and navigation tech. I can handle the hardware, but we're going to need everyone's help." The parents wasted no time. Claire tapped into her network, retrieving encrypted files and diverting outdated military equipment from a black site. Marcus led the charge in locating the derelict spacecraft, an angular, rusting husk hidden in an abandoned hangar deep in the desert. Jack, with his background in engineering, saw the potential immediately. "She's a mess," Marcus said as they examined the craft, "but the propulsion systems are intact. If we can scavenge parts, we might get her running." Jack grinned, already running calculations in his head. Mess or not, she's ours now. For weeks, the group worked tirelessly, scavenging, building, and innovating. They stripped old military vehicles for armor plating, raided junkyards for circuits, and jury-rigged Earth technology to interface with the alien systems. Jack's genius was on full display as he designed improvised energy shields and weapons, converting Earth's rudimentary missile tech into railguns powered by the alien ship's reactor. Amid the chaos of their work, moments of vulnerability surfaced. In the quiet hours of the night, they shared stories of their children. Claire spoke of her daughter's love for painting, her voice breaking as she held up a picture of her child's last masterpiece. Marcus described teaching his son to build model rockets, his hands trembling as he held a photo of their last launch. Jack, ever stoic, finally broke down as he placed Emily's stuffed bear on the ship's dashboard. "They think we're weak," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion. "But they have no idea what we'll do for our kids." These moments of humanity became their fuel, strengthening their resolve and reminding them why failure wasn't an option. The day of the launch came quicker than any of them expected. Standing before the now functional spacecraft, an amalgamation of human ingenuity and alien technology, they couldn't help but marvel at what they'd achieved. The ship, christened the Phoenix by Claire, hummed with life as its engines warmed up. "This is it," Jack said, securing his helmet. "No turning back now." As the countdown ended, the Phoenix roared to life, blasting into the night sky. Its patched-together exterior gleamed under the moonlight, a testament to the relentless determination of humanity. For the first time, the parents felt hope. Their journey into the unknown had begun. The stars outside the Phoenix stretched into streaks of light as the ship broke into alien-controlled territory. The parents sat in tense silence, their eyes glued to the glowing monitors displaying navigational data. Jack, seated at the helm, made constant adjustments, weaving the ship through asteroid fields and gravity wells like a veteran pilot. Claire's voice cut through the tension. "Multiple patrols up ahead," she said, pointing to a cluster of red blips on the radar. "If they scan us, we're done." Jack smirked, flipping a switch. "Not with this baby. Let's see how they like a little Earth ingenuity." The Phoenix hummed as its jury-rigged cloaking system activated. Unlike the sleek, predictable ships of the Vardak, its unconventional design and scrambled energy signature confused their scanners. As a Vardak patrol cruiser passed dangerously close, the parents held their breath. The alien ship hesitated, its sensors flickering, before moving on. "Looks like they don't know what to make of us," Marcus said, letting out a relieved chuckle. Jack nodded grimly. "Good. That's our advantage. Let's keep it that way. The parents' first major breakthrough came when Claire intercepted a faint Vardak communication signal. Using her intelligence training, she cracked their encryption protocols, translating snippets of alien speech into comprehensible data. They're keeping the kids on a research facility orbiting a gas giant, she reported, tapping furiously at her console. It's heavily guarded, but there's a weak point in their security grid. Jack leaned over her shoulder. Can you give us access to their systems? Not yet, she replied, but if we can get close to a comms relay station, I can piggyback off their network. The team set their sights on a small Vardak outpost, a remote hub for communication and supply distribution. Approaching the outpost, the parents devised a plan. Claire led the infiltration, planting a signal disruptor to blind the facility's sensors. Jack and Marcus rigged decoys, drones cobbled together from the Phoenix's spare parts, to create a diversion. The alien guards scrambled to deal with the unexpected intrusion, leaving key systems vulnerable. The humans moved swiftly and efficiently, their guerrilla tactics unlike anything the Vardak had encountered. Jack's improvised EMP grenades disabled the facility's automated defenses, while Claire hacked into their mainframe, downloading critical data and redirecting security protocols. The Vardak were caught off guard. Their superior technology turned against them in a matter of minutes. One alien officer, panicked and confused, muttered in disbelief. How can primitives do this? Before the outpost could recover, the humans were gone, leaving behind a trail of disabled systems and frustrated aliens. The closer the parents got to the research facility, the more desperate the Vardak became. Patrols doubled, and encrypted messages hinted at rising fear among the aliens. The humans were relentless, exploiting every weakness, adapting to every challenge. Inside the Phoenix, the parents prepared for their final approach. Claire decoded the last of the data, pinpointing the children's location. They're scared of us, Marcus said, his voice tinged with grim satisfaction. They should be, Jack replied. They've taken the wrong kids. As the facility loomed ahead, the parents steeled themselves for the battle to come. The Vardak had underestimated humanity, and now they would pay the price. The Phoenix approached the Vardak research facility, a massive, ominous structure orbiting a swirling gas giant. The ship's patchwork design blended into the background radiation, giving the parents the cover they needed. Inside, the team made their final preparations. Jack checked the makeshift weapons one last time, while Claire uploaded a virus into the facility's security systems, preparing to disrupt its defenses. This is it, Jack said, his voice steady despite the tension. We go in fast, we get our kids, and we get out. No matter what. The others nodded, their resolve unshaken. The assault began with a coordinated strike. Claire's virus crashed the facility's power grid, plunging the halls into darkness. Emergency lights flickered, casting eerie red glows across the corridors. The Vardak scrambled to respond, but the Phoenix slammed into the docking bay, its improvised shields absorbing enemy fire as the parents stormed in. Jack led the charge, using repurposed railguns to blast through alien drones. Marcus deployed decoy drones to confuse the guards, while Claire hacked into the facility's schematics, guiding the group toward the children's holding area. The Vardak underestimated the humans' resolve and ingenuity. Hallways were turned into traps as Jack's improvised explosives funneled the aliens into choke points. When cornered, the parents fought with a primal fury, driven by the thought of their abducted children. Inside the central lab, the parents found rows of stasis pods holding the abducted children. The sight was heart-wrenching. The pods glowed faintly, their alien mechanisms keeping the children unconscious but unharmed. Claire worked quickly to disable the locking mechanisms, her hands trembling as she released each pod. Emily, Jack shouted as his daughter's pod opened. She blinked groggily, her small face lighting up with recognition. Daddy, she cried, throwing her arms around him. The room filled with similar scenes as parents reunited with their children, tears of relief streaming down their faces. The children, though frightened, showed remarkable resilience. They clung to their parents, their courage shining through the ordeal. As the group prepared to escape, Jack activated the Phoenix's comm system, broadcasting a message across the facility and into Vardak-controlled space. This is a message to the Vardak and anyone else listening. Humanity will never forgive or forget. Harm our children, and you will face the wrath of Earth. We are not prey. We are hunters, and we will find you. The transmission echoed through alien channels, spreading like wildfire. The Vardak, who had once dismissed humans as primitive, now viewed them with a mix of fear and respect. The Phoenix roared back to Earth, carrying its precious cargo of children and parents. As the ship touched down, a stunned crowd awaited, their expressions a mix of awe and disbelief. The parents stepped out, holding their children close, their victory a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit. Later that night, Jack sat with Emily, watching her sleep peacefully for the first time in days. He thought about the journey, the sacrifices, and the message they had sent to the stars. "No one messes with us," he murmured, his voice firm. "Not ever again."